If you wait till you're ready, you'll never do anything. It sounds like a joke, right? But it's not. I bought my first stock without knowing anything about the stock market, and I will forever be grateful that I did. I was literally thrown into the deep end of everything, and I came out. I'm still floating. I haven't gotten dry land yet, but I'm very glad that I bought my first stock when I did because it has taught me a lot more about the stock market and investments than I ever thought I would ever know. And here are some mistakes that I did when I first started investing. Like I said, I bought my first stock without knowing anything about the stock market. I had to learn everything by myself, the research, how to buy, the risks, what different types of stocks there were, the types of dividends. Every single thing that I learned it by myself through exposure, through research, through reading a lot of articles, a whole lot of articles, and through honestly trial and error. The biggest error I made was being an impatient buyer. I think I still am to a degree, but it is a lot better than before. Back then, when I saw stock and I did the research, and it took some time to do the research, it took like a day or two to research about a company I was interested in buying. And during the period where I would be doing research, I would constantly wonder if the stock price has gone up and if my money will be able to afford it to the degree that I would want, excuse me, and if the money I had would be able to cover up how much I would like to buy. I was very impatient about buying stocks. Very, very impatient. If I saw a stock today and perhaps it was 15 naira, and by tomorrow I come back and it is 47, I would buy it, knowing fully well that it is going down. Because of course everybody says buy when the market is red. Nobody ever tells you that in as much as the market is red, you should wait until the market starts showing signs of becoming green before you buy. So I would buy at 47. By the fourth day, it could be down to 30, and I would be so angry that I didn't wait till 30 before buying it. Because if I had bought it at 30 and it had climbed back to 50, I would have made more than as I bought it at 47, which has now gone down to 30. I was a very impatient buyer, a very, very impatient buyer. I had to learn to calm down, take a deep breath, and watch the market for 1 or 2 days. Of course, it is a risk because in those 1 or 2 days, the stocks will climb. And yes, it happens, but still, I had to learn how to slow down and look at the data and really read it and understand it. And that was my very first lesson that I learned when it came to investing and buying stocks. The second lesson that I learned when it came to investing and buying stocks, and it was a very big mistake that I used to make, was not selling when I needed to. Like I said earlier, I bought at 47 when it was 50. If I saw by the third day was down to a good 42, I should have sold it off. But I would keep believing it would climb back to 50 and then it falls back down to 30. If I had sold it at 42 and bought it at 30, I would have gained more than letting it fall completely to 30 and then climbing back to 50. A lot of finance creators say if you buy and it's going down, when it starts climbing up, you should buy again with a different amount of income from the initial that you put in so it can balance up your profits and your losses. And it is very true. I've tried it out, the theory works. But if you're in a situation where you do not have money to buy in again to make up your profits and loss, I would say sell. If this is not financial advice, mind you, do your research. I am not a finance expert. I simply have done trials and errors, and this is my results. I would say sell and then buy it again when it is lower and the stock seems to be climbing. It will save you a lot more losses. Are there charging fees? Of course there are. But when you think about the difference between losing 1 naira and losing 5 naira, I don't think I have to say a lot more on that topic. A very big mistake I used to make back then when I first started buying stocks was marginalizing. Not in the terms of sectors or companies or economies, but more in the sense of the stock prices themselves. I believed that I should buy stocks within a certain monetary margin, perhaps between 50 naira and 100 naira. I'm using naira because I'm from Nigeria and this is our currency. I was very much of the belief that if a stock was higher than 100 naira, I shouldn't buy it. I do not know why I thought like that, to be very, very honest. I just thought this is a very good margin. and I should stick within the margin. The problem with marginalizing when you're buying stocks is you miss out on a lot of opportunities. A stock that is at 100 naira from a fair company with great price is a lot worse than a stock that is at 500 naira from a wonderful company. The difference is one has tendency to grow more than the other, not necessarily in all cases. The point I'm trying to make here is don't marginalize yourself when you want to buy something of the stock market. If you want to buy a stock of 1,000 naira or 500 naira or 700 naira, as long as you can afford 1 unit of it, I would say buy it. I did an experiment once and I bought stocks that were way above my margin price, and it did so much better than what I was putting myself within the margins of. It simply taught me that I was kidding myself. There was no need to think just because I didn't have money to buy 1,000 units of it, I couldn't buy one. One is enough. One is a starting point. You build slowly. We start with the littles and we build up from there. So do not marginalize. I marginalized. It was a very big mistake. Perhaps if I didn't, I would be a better investor today, but we would never know because I did marginalize. In line with marginalizing, I did have a bit of a poverty mentality when it came to stocks and the stock market. I tend to go for stocks that were cheaper or looked cheaper in as much as the companies were not doing good or doing well. I just figured it's cheaper, I can afford it, and one day to grow. That is not always the case. There is such a thing as bankruptcy. And really, it was a very hard pill to learn and to swallow. The poverty mentality for me came in terms of how much a stock was. Apart from marginalizing, when I eventually got over that and I wanted to buy big boy stocks in general or in co, and I wanted to buy big boy stocks in quotes, I would look at my big boy stocks and say, man, this one's quite expensive. Do I really want to spend 5,000 naira on this? Not in that accent though, but I would look at them and say, this is too expensive, this is cheaper, I should go for the cheaper option. I have heard it's so much better to buy an active stock that is expensive than to buy an inactive stock that is cheap, mainly because one is moving in the market, which means the probability of you making more is higher, while the other is just stagnant. In as much as there is work going on behind the scenes, it is not showing in the forefront as you want it to. So I had to learn how to overcome the poverty mentality of buying stocks. It was not easy, but to an extent or to a degree, I have made some expensive purchases. And of course, I don't take money out of my expenses. I use investment money from my income to invest, and it is never enough, to be very honest. It is never going to be enough, but I start from one and I build on from there. So I start with the little I have, and I have plans to buy over the years. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, investing is not the easiest thing in the world. It is a whole new worldview. It is a whole new part of the world. You have to become in love with economics and financial reports and audits and Q1s and Q2s and Q3s and Q4 reports. And you have to know about dividends. You have to know what company is doing well or what company is not doing well. You have to know what economy is rising, whose economy is going down, what sector is booming. Oh, there's a war, who is the most affected? Oh, the war is over, who is gaining the most from it? There is no easy thing about investing, but is it worth it? It definitely is. I will say that over and over again. I think it is a very big learning curve when it comes to money, because we save, we spend, but when you're banking your money on someone else's company, you want to do the very best for yourself. And I think investing in more than one ways does that. It makes you more aware of whose company is around, whose company is doing well, and if their company is doing well, what are they doing that is making you do well? If I want to build a company one day, what can I apply from their formula to make my company as good as theirs? So welcome to the world of investing. I hope you have a wonderful journey in it. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Be better than me. Do not marginalize. Do not have a poverty mentality. Always do your own research. Always do your own research. Very important. This is not financial advice. I will say that over and over again. I do not have a degree in finance, banking, or business administration, but I am an individual who learned the finance market for herself and you should too. And I'll see you next week on the Tiny Share Talk.